when he took that picture, he scratched off that patina. And so when they got to it in 1950s, they said, "Oh, you know what? Even the patina is removed, but it's not ours." It basically is what their conclusions were. And they published on this in an article in 1954, and they just dismissed it. They said, "It's not us. It's not ours." Now, if it had been, the Mormons would have claimed it, and that's what they went out there to do. But they did not. The Smithsonian Institution also in 1951 sent out a survey, and they stated definitively that there is no connection between the archaeology of the New World and that stone in connection with Mormons. So they even said, and that was Dr. Roberts over at the Smithsonian Institution said that. I had a guy who emailed me, and he said, "You know what? I'm a Mormon. I've been raised in the Mormon church." He said, and I live out there. He said, "I've never heard of this stone." He said, "I've never heard of it. I would have heard about it in my community, within my circles, and I've never heard about it." He said, "I'm going out there to see what this thing is." He emailed me. He said, "You know what? I went out there. I looked at it." He said, "I read everything on it. I dug in the church archives." He said, "This is not related to Mormons. This is not the Battalion of Mormon coming through." And even he said it has no relation to the Mormon influence that came through in that time period. Sure, they came through in the same time period, but they had nothing to do with it. It's not theirs. And he really confirmed what the Smithsonian Institution has said, and even the Archaeological Society of Brigham Young University said in the 1950s.
I want to give a few references here, Aaron. Just take a second. Of course, you're listening to Epic Voyages Radio online at www.inceptionradionetwork.com, and we're talking with Dr. Aaron Judkins, who is a biblical archaeologist, and he has firsthand, with his own two eyes, studied this Decalogue stone, which is out in the middle of the desert south of Albuquerque in New Mexico. But I want to give a couple of references here. Aaron has some really good information on his WordPress blog, and I'm putting it in the chat room right now. It's www.manversusarchaeology. That would be man vs like Victor Sam, manvsarchaeology.wordpress.com. And if you scroll down his initial page there, you will find a whole article about the, let's see how you start that, it's a very good article called The Mystery of the Decalogue Stone. I'm guessing it's just a little before halfway down his initial web page there when you click in. Also, I want you to know that he has a documentary online. I'm putting that in the chat room right now on YouTube. And you can find that by typing in capital letter X, Indiana Jones 1. So that's no spaces, X, Indiana Jones, the numeral 1, when you go to YouTube. And he has videos. I think you have a DVD of the documentary there that you have a link for. Is that right, Aaron?
Yeah, if they go to my website, aaronjudkins.com, they can go and see where they can get information on getting the documentary. It's very reasonably priced. We want people just to get the information out. We want people to see it. And it's over an hour long, and we got some scholars that go out with us. And it's quite interesting. I think people would really find this intriguing once they see the documentary and us actually shooting on locale. And if people go to the blog, there's a poll that I would encourage people to take. Is the Los Lunas Decalogue stone authentic? And I want people to go in that poll. Right now, Laurel, the poll is showing 50% affirmative that the evidence is clear for it being authentic.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so your poll is on the WordPress.com blog, right?
Yeah, manversusarchaeology.wordpress.com.
Okay.
If they go to the Mystery of the Decalogue Stone in the search, it'll pull up, and right towards the bottom, you'll see that poll. And we want people to go on there because your input's valuable on this. We want to know what you think.
And then Aaron's own website is www.aaronjudkins, AARONJUDKINS.com. And that's where you can get more information about the DVD. And then again, if you go to YouTube and type in X Indiana Jones followed by the number 1, all no spaces, you will hook up with actually, Aaron has quite a few videos there. He has some on giants. He has some on the Nephilim. He's got this one about the Los Lunas stone. He has quite. How many would you say you've got online there, Aaron?
Oh, I don't know, probably 25 videos maybe. But they're quality, videos in these areas. I interview other people. We go on location and we just talk about these things. And, my interest has been, Laurel, in forbidden archaeology, the mysteries of the past, things that mainstream archaeologists don't want to touch. That's the stuff I like to go after because I want to know the truth about these things. Number one, why don't I hear about these things? How come they're not mainstream? How come the public's not made aware of these? How come it's buried evidence and suppressed? And that's really what started intriguing me on this whole journey is why is this evidence being suppressed? And I wanted to know the truth of the matter because, listen, if giants are true, there's a lot of history that's wrong. We need to know the answers to these things. Is there evidence confirming, the Nephilim? So there's just all kinds of questions that archaeologists won't touch. And it just baffles me because they're worried about protecting, their social stance in the universities there. And listen, there are good, reputable archaeologists who can still come out with the truth, but they're very hesitant to because of the opposition they'll come across. And that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, peer pressure. I know that I've talked to James Vieira and Scott Walter here. Both of them have concerns about mainstream archaeology basically just dismissing out of hand everything that's coming to light. I know Scott has this personal journey going on with the Kensington runestone that's similar to this Los Lunas stone. The provenance is just apparently they're never going to accept it as even remotely possible in mainstream archaeology. But you mentioned giants, and that's how I first met you, Aaron. Your book, The Alien Agenda. What's the title of your book, and is that on your AaronJudkins.com website too?
It is. It's Alien Agenda: The Return of the Nephilim,
right?
And that's the newest book out.
You came and out Michael McDaniel, right?
That's right. Dr. McDaniel and I wrote the book together, and it's a new look at the UFO phenomenon, the ancient alien question. We delve into the archaeology. It's a new perspective on this topic, and we wanted to give an answer for what these things were with a different perspective that no one's really giving. And so we saw a connection with that, and because of my background in archaeology, wanted to bring forth some of that evidence out and how this all ties in with the Nephilim. The subtitle is The Return of the Nephilim. And so this is a really, really mind-blowing subject when I started looking into it because, listen, I didn't really understand what the Nephilim were and what they were doing and the question, will they return? And there's some interesting things under our research that we uncovered that's just amazing. And it really challenged, Laurel, some of my own presuppositions and it kind of challenged some of my beliefs. But that's what we should do. You should be open to having your paradigm challenged every now and then. It really makes for some good study when you do so.
Oh, definitely. I agree. Speaking then of giants, I know that Lovelock, is it Lovelock Cave is that in Utah or Nevada? Is where they found all of it, and they found all of these 8-9 foot giants with red hair, and the Paiute have a legend that says that they pretty much surrounded them in the cave and burned them out and killed them. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what the legend says. That's over in Nevada.
How
Um,
far is that from where we're talking about with this Los Lunas stone? Those two things
oh,
cannot possibly be connected, can they?
no, they're not. They're separated by I think 600 miles. So they're not related at all. It's a total separate time period, separate story. Everything's different, and then of course, obviously, they're separated by hundreds and hundreds of miles.
Well, if I can put you on the spot for a minute,
Okay.
what is your best guess? Your own professional, and you don't have to come at this purely logically, but use your intuition too. What do you think the story is, the actual story is of the Decalogue stone?
Well, it's interesting that the stone has never been falsified. It's never really been authenticated, but it cannot be falsified, which is an interesting position in science. It's neither provable nor disprovable as of yet. That doesn't mean that further evidence won't come to light. But here's my thing on it. It's quite interesting. That I could never get around the desert varnish and the patina off the inscription itself. Now on the stone it's still there, but on the inscription and inside the lettering of the inscription, that patina is gone. There's no lichen on the stone. And so when that information's gone or it's not there, you wonder, well, maybe this is recent. But until I learned that Dr. Hibbond back in 1933, when he first went out and saw the stone and told my colleague directly, word for word, face to face, that there was patina over that inscription and there was lichen on that stone, growing on the stone, that means that stone, that inscription had to be out there for a very, very long time for that process to happen. Now, there's a couple of red flags with it. One is because of that lack of, patina, and number two is there's what looks like a carrot mark. Now, a carrot mark is what some people call to as a modern day proofreader's mark, the little carrot that, if you forgot something, you put the little carrot mark and you go, okay, it goes here, and it goes either, up above or whatever, insert this line into here. It's a proofreader's mark, and there's appears to be that in the stone, although I'm not sure. But it's interesting that this carrot mark, if that's indeed what it is, the carrot mark wasn't invented until like 1961. So how would anyone use that as a modern day proofreader mark prior to 1961? I don't know. I don't know that that's what it is. It could be coincidence. The other thing, though, is that there may be a crypto-Jewish connection with this that no one has really taken a look at.
Okay,
Now,
now wait a minute. I understand
no,
what the word crypto means and Jewish,
okay,
but put that
right.
together for those of us that are lay people not in archaeology and tell me what you're talking about now.
Well, when you look back in the long history of Judaism, and you go back to the 14th century, back in Spain, the Jews were, of course, in that area of Spain, and they were being persecuted in the area of Iberia in the 14th, 15th centuries. Now, in the 14th